Yes, he's back, folks. Back on the channel. It's Dan WOOOOOOTON! And I'll tell you what, I formed an opinion at long last, a proper opinion now. As I said yesterday, I know he's got some supporters on here. I know some like him, I know some follow him. But I've read a lot more over the last few hours and heard a lot more, and I don't feel it can all be lies. This is where I'm at. Dan, for me, I never particularly liked him. He used to be on ITV on one of the morning shows. His voice went through me, as I said yesterday, and I just found him very smarmy and up himself, thought he was great. But live and let live has been my motto, and I've seen him doing bits on GB News. As I've said, I don't watch it, but I see the 5 and 10 minute clips of the big stories that they have on YouTube, and I'll watch that. He went in, as I say, heavily on Schofield with the old jack boots on, and to some extent I admired him because Schofield needed to be brought to task, and Schofield had done a lot of bad things, and Schofield by all accounts had been a bully and not a very nice person behind the scenes. At that time I didn't know what kind of bully Mr. Wooton has been to many of his colleagues in the past through many mediums, as in The Sun, The Mail and ITV. I did not know any of that. Now the thing is this, all of the things that have been levelled at him may not be true. That is the case, they may not be true. But there's that many things being levelled at him, I can't for one moment believe that they're absolutely all lies. Accusations are coming from everywhere, and I believe they're coming on a daily basis. I think now that the floodgates have been opened, there's going to be an avalanche of complaints. I think because so many are complaining, others that wouldn't normally say anything are thinking, well, I wouldn't have normally said something, but I'm not going to be on my own here. I'm not going to be made to feel silly on my own or small on my own or to be judged against because many others are saying the same things as me. And it's absolutely crazy. There's loads and loads and loads of accounts of bullying, loads of accounts of things with lewd pictures and lewd videos. There's loads of accounts of blackmail. There's loads of accounts of one-upmanship. There's loads of accounts of doing things with people's wages and people's jobs and doing things with people's contacts, other reporters' contacts. There's so much happening that it just cannot be all untrue. I'm certain it can't. This Byline News didn't know who they were, or Byline Times, I don't even know the name, you see, who they were, what they were, knew nothing about them. But I read something about them earlier today, and I believe they've done lots of stuff like this against lots of people over the last 3 or 4 years. But in each instance, they've never lost a case. They've never been taken to court and got in any trouble. So everything thus far that they've reported on, they've been correct with, or they've not said anything. Is it libelous? That's the wrong. You know what I mean. They've not said anything that can be done for anyway. So I don't think they'd have gone in with as much as they've gone in with if they didn't feel that they had a strong case. Now, old Dan, for on his part, he's saying that everyone's after him. The old Kenneth Williams, the infamy. They've all got it, infamy, governor. Well, it sounds like they all have. But as I say, there's that many of them. I don't believe that they all could be making it up. He's blaming this past boyfriend he's really got it in for him. He's blaming the past boyfriend for being something of a psychopath and telling him that he wanted to kill him. He's saying that he's got people there that have been done in the past for bad practices on newspapers. Well, from what I've read and heard, he'll know a lot about these people because he's done a lot of it himself. I heard today that he's not only got a male pseudonym, he's also been operating under a woman's name as well. He's tried to get people who are straight to admit they're gay, to admit they might be a little gay, to say that they might be a little bisexual. He's tried to get people who are straight feel uncomfortable in their own sexuality and uncomfortable working with him. He's done loads and loads and loads of things from what I've read and what I've heard. Now, I've only read it and heard it. It may all not be true. I just can't for the life of me see how it can all be made up and all be lies. I think Dan Wooton have got lots of problems in front of them. And I think he's doing no favours to GB News staying on there. And I think they're doing themselves no favours. I believe the Sun have already dropped him. The Mail have already dropped him. I would imagine by this time next week he won't be on GB News, but I might be proved wrong. But I mean, if these charges go against him, as I think they may well do, or many of them may well do, because I think it's definitely going to go to court now, if only because of what he said. He said it's all made up, it's all lies, and he's asking his supporters for this fighting fund, this money, this GoFundMe thing to fund him. I believe it was up to 37 grand last night. It might be up to the 150 by now. Some people just have blinkers on and get to like people and hitch their horses to that, what's it called? I can't think what it's called. To that wagon train. And I think that's what many have done. I think his many supporters, including those on air, are going to be disappointed further down the line, because I think he's let you down very, very, very badly. I just can't for the life of me think there's just too many people and too many instances out there, and it's from the last 15 years. I just cannot believe it's all being made up. You know, they've got loads and loads of people coming out of the woodwork, and loads of people have been to the police already and given statements. Loads haven't, and Byline News, Byline Times, what they're called, are protecting a lot of names at this stage. But I'm sure a lot of these names they keep to themselves will come out if they need to come out. I think Dan has been a very, very, very naughty boy. You know, a very naughty boy. I might be proved wrong, but I'm not so sure I will. I'm now very much on the side of the accusers. I'm now very, very much against Mr. Wooton. And I think Mr. Wooton has been very, very silly in his condemnation and his rants and his all-in, jackbooted all-in thing on Philip Schofield. Because I think, should you do that on anybody else? Especially when you're talking things to do with bullying, making people lose their jobs, and sexual practices. I think when you're doing all that, Dan, your cupboard has got to be 100% clean. Now, from what I can see, every single thing you're accusing Schofield of, you've done yourself. Bullying, making people lose their jobs, loads of things sexually that are really bad, and you've even done it in pseudonyms. He didn't. And I think all age groups, maybe not any as young as the guy that Philip Schofield went with, but maybe so. I don't know. Maybe that's going to come out further down the line, because I'm sure there'll be all age groups in there. But I think, Dan, you went for Schofield as badly as you did because you lost your job because he was more powerful than you and got you pushed out. And it didn't sit well with you because you're normally the one that are more powerful than people that you've worked with, and you've got them pushed out, and you didn't like the boot being on the other foot. You should have been clever enough, Dan, to realise that if you've done all this, in time it'll come out, and you can't go in as hard as you went in against Schofield with the skeletons you've got in your cupboard. And as I say, I think it's all going to come home to roost. Those fans of his on here, as I say, I hope I don't lose you, but if I do, I do. I always give an honest opinion, and I've read more now and seen more. I can't for the life of me believe Mr. Wooton is innocent of all this. I can't. Some of the things he may not have done, but many of them, I'm sure he has. I'm sure the guy's got blood on his hands, and I think there'll be a reckoning, and I think he's going to get found guilty. I really, really do. And I just feel so sorry for all those people that are giving money towards him, because I think you're giving your money in vain and to a guy that does not deserve it. As I say, maybe I'll be proved wrong. If I am, in the months that come, I will not be afraid of being big enough to hold my hands up in the air and say I'm sorry and I got it wrong. Not at all. I don't think I'm not going to have to make that statement. But we'll see. We'll see. It will all come out in the wash. It's coming out now. But it'll come out more in time, I'm sure it will. There's a lot more of this to run yet, folks. A lot more on this one.